Hello and welcome to the Daily Faded. I am Hetz, and this is where we get faded daily and talk about the news and politics of the day. I've been gone for 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks actually. Had my shoulder operated on, torn rotator cuff. I wasn't able to type for 2 weeks. I've been in a sling for most of the last 2 weeks, and I've only just reached enough range of motion to do this. And to tell you the truth, that hurts my shoulder a little bit when I do that. It does hurt a little bit. Anyway, welcome to the Daily Faded. Today is August 10th, 2020, and this is the Daily Faded number 78. I hope you saw the new channel logo that I came up with. I'm very proud of that. I've never been an art class kind of guy, so it's small, but it's a major achievement for me. I think it gives us an air of professionalism, which, yes, I professionally smoke weed and talk about news and politics. So, yes, I'm so Breaking Bad. How you doing, Hamza? Good to see you. Today, Donald Trump said that the 1917 pandemic ended World War II. Do I need to make further comment on that? Let's see, catching up on coronavirus, we're over 20 million cases worldwide now and 738,000 deaths worldwide. In the United States, we've got 5.2 million cases up over that and 166,192 deaths. Yeah, I do have the hair, right? Actually, I have more hair than Walter White right now because I can't shave. That's why I have this big bushy beard. And in California, we have 573,773 cases, which is the highest caseload of any state in the country, and 10,468 deaths. The University of Washington Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation has predicted that we could have as many as 300,000 dead by December. And one of the amazing things about that stat was they said that if everyone wore masks universally across the United States, it would save 60,000 lives between now and December. So it's madness. It's madness. We have completely screwed this thing up. And the American Academy of Pediatrics and Children's Hospital Association released a report showing that 97,000 children contracted coronavirus or tested positive for coronavirus between July 16th and July 30th. So 97,000 children came down with coronavirus. That does not sound like the Trump line that children are immune, that children can't get it. So what do we think? Is a massive outbreak on the way? I assume it is, with schools opening all around the country and kids getting COVID-19 at a serious rate. We all know, anyone who's got kids, like myself, knows that, no, schools are not opening in person here. Thank God. I've got my kids all set up for at-home learning. But we all know that I think some in Orange County are and some aren't, but not universal across the county. I think most LA County schools are going all virtual. But the schools are, they're petri dishes. Kids go in and they catch all kinds of things, and you inevitably end up catching what your kids catch. That's just the way it works. So will all the states that opened schools in the last couple of weeks, or this past week, or the week before, or next week, or the week after, will all of these states that open schools have outbreaks? Are those the states that need to be put on the next watch list? I think probably they are. How many parents and teachers are going to catch COVID-19 from their kids? How many parents and teachers are going to die because they caught it from their kids? Trump, I've just got a few things that I had to mention tonight. Trump said that Biden would hurt the Bible, that he's anti-religion, he'll hurt God, no religion, no Second Amendment, no anything. So Trump doesn't want you to vote for Joe Biden because under Joe Biden, you'll get no anything. I mean, what a weak-ass campaign. What a weak-ass charge. I don't think it was Antifa, Connor. I think that's extremely unlikely because if it's Antifa, it would be nothing like what Antifa is supposed to be about. They're not about sneaking onto the White House grounds and attacking. Oh, that troll is gone. Anyway, so Trump signed all these executive orders over the weekend. Yes, Biden's campaign is basically I'm not Trump. Oh, and I was close to Obama. That's correct. That is exactly what Biden's campaign is. Anyway, signed these executive orders over the weekend, and I imagine you've probably heard about them. If not, there's articles in every paper. You can catch up on them easily. But they're, a supposed rent moratorium for federally backed loans and apartments. Okay, so look, that doesn't matter. So here's the thing, Connor. Antifa is not an organization. There's no way you can join Antifa. It is a leaderless movement, and all it means is anti-fascist. That's literally all it means. None of the people who've been arrested for protesting or have been arrested for rioting, not a single one of them has been linked to Antifa. Not a single one of them. We've had hundreds of people die as a result of right-wing violence over the last decade or two. There's not a single death from Antifa. There's a couple of fistfights. So there's really nothing to worry about Antifa. Being anti-fascist doesn't mean jumping on the White House lawn and attempting to kill the president. So that just wouldn't be an Antifa thing to do. Anyway, I want to get back to the executive orders. I think that, look, these executive orders are useless. I think they're not going to work. I think they're meaningless. The eviction order just suggests that Health and Human HUD and other departments or whatever recommend that they reconsider whether or not to halt evictions. That doesn't do anything. The payroll tax holiday doesn't do anything. Businesses are not going to support it. Oh, okay. I've never seen that. I doubt that it's real. I doubt that it's real. But show it to me. Post it in the comments under this video, and I'll take a look at it and I'll respond to it. But again, no Antifa person has ever killed anybody, whereas right-wing terrorists kill people all the time in this country. So if you want to worry about terrorism, worry about right-wing terrorism, not Antifa. They don't go around killing people. I'll look for it. I'll check it out. The big problem with the executive orders, as I see it, is that they could give the Republicans an excuse or a reason to not pass any additional legislation. My concern is that they're going to say, okay, it's done. Mitch McConnell supports it. We're good. We don't need another bill. And I think they're big enough assholes and they're stupid enough politically to actually do that. So that's my concern, because I do want most of what's in the HEROES Act that the Democrats passed. I think we need pretty much everything that's in there, and we probably need more than what's in there. As for the executive order on unemployment, Gavin Newsom said today that California cannot afford to contribute to Trump's new unemployment benefit. Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York said no New Yorker will get unemployment money from the president's program. It's a fantasy. And Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky said it's not workable in its current form. It's something virtually no state can afford. Well, if California and New York can't afford it, how are states with a smaller tax base going to afford it? The Fed isn't paying for it. I wish the Fed was paying for it. And if the Fed was paying for it, there would be no reason not to do $600 a week, because that's deficit spending, which we can afford to do. But the money is coming from the money's coming from the money's coming from FEMA or something along those lines. It's being redirected from a different. It's not coming from the Fed. It's not coming from the Fed. At least everything that I read said that it was coming from other funding in the executive branch that was disaster funding. So I checked out the Sunday shows this weekend, and I watched them so you don't have to. Good Lord, was it sad? Was it pathetic? Chuck Todd interviewing Peter Navarro, Dana Bash interviewing Larry Kudlow, and then interviews with Nancy Pelosi and Dick Durbin. And Larry Kudlow and Peter Navarro, first of all, I don't feel like they know what they're talking about. And Larry Kudlow was all over the place. He's saying it's a $1,200 benefit. And she says, $1,200. And she says, no, I mean $800. And she's like, $800? I thought it was $400. And he says, yes, it's $400 from the state and $400 from the federal government. And she just got confused and dropped it. And I thought to myself, that's not great journalism. You've got him on the ropes because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Go in for the kill. And then Peter Navarro these words actually came out of his mouth. He's an economic advisor for the White House. And Peter Navarro actually said that God and the founding fathers created the executive order so that Donald Trump can write these executive orders. I shit you not. I don't know what's wrong with these people. They're completely insane. I do think the world would be a better place without the two parties. Absolutely. I think the two-party system is a scam. I think it's anti-democratic. I don't know how many parties you need to have to truly represent the spectrum, but I would think 6 or 7 parties would probably be best. But we don't have a representational. We don't have proportional representation. Yeah, it is all about party before country. It is all about party before country. And I think the two-party, look, the two parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, have been in control of this country since 1860. No other party has had the opportunity to have any sort of power in this country whatsoever since 1860. And this goes through all of the communist and socialist movements of the first half of the 20th century. I think it's a scam that two parties have run this country for 160 years. I just think it's a total scam. So, Connor, you said something interesting there, that you wish the parties would work together. I'm not sure I agree with that, given where we are today. I mean, I'd like a multi-party system where parties do work together for the good of the American people. But the other thing, too, is I want representation for the working class. Cori Bush and AOC are really unique in coming from the working class. people who never dreamed of having a salary anywhere near a congresswoman's salary, and who know what it's like to worry about your health care. Cori Bush knows what it's like to be homeless. Well, I think that's good, Connor. We all need to work on fighting racism. I think that's really important. And keep watching, and maybe we'll swing you to the left. Anyway, I could go on and on about that. Anyway, from my review of the Sunday shows, then the other thing that really struck me is that Nancy Pelosi, will try. Nancy Pelosi talks about praying more than any evangelical Republican I've ever seen. She kept saying she wanted to be prayerful, and I just have very little patience for that. That's fine. Refusing to pick a side is fine, especially when the two choices that are being offered to you both suck. They're both corrupt corporate parties. I don't have any problem with Christians. When I said evangelical, I meant more political evangelicals. There's nothing inherently wrong about Christians. My brother is a contemplative Christian. I'm a Buddhist, and we agree on a great many things. I wanted to mention Bernie Sanders has introduced legislation for a one-time tax on billionaire earnings over the course of the pandemic to pay for health care for all Americans, presumably Medicare for COVID or Medicare for all. Bernie tweeted today, "This pandemic has exposed the ugly realities of the rigged economy. While 467 billionaires saw their wealth increase by $730 billion in the last few months, working families lost their jobs, healthcare, and homes. We need an economy that works for all, not just the 1%. Definitely agree with you there, Hamza. Look, I don't think there should be billionaires. I think we should tax 100% wealth tax over $1 billion. There's no one. Money is power. Money is not free speech. Money is power. And no one should have that much power in a democracy. $730 billion that these people have made while the rest of the country is suffering, while people are food insecure, while people are being evicted from their homes. And these fucking people make so much money that could do so much good in the United States to the people who need it. It's crazy, Hamza. It's crazy. In my previous life, I interacted with a lot of very wealthy people. And yeah, totally. So this is from the LA Times. I thought this was a really interesting story that I wanted to cover. Governor Gavin Newsom's director of the California Department of Public Health resigned on Sunday, an abrupt departure of a key advisor in the state's coronavirus battle just days after the discovery of a computer system failure that resulted in the undercounting of COVID-19 cases. Dr. Sonia Angel, who held the position for less than a year, announced her resignation in an email sent to department staff that was released by the California Health and Human Services Agency. Angel's decision to step aside comes at a crucial moment in California's battle against the spread of the virus. More than 10,000 Californians have died from the disease, and 38 of the state's 58 counties are on a watch list that has required the closure of businesses that had briefly reopened in the early summer and K-12 schools as the academic year begins. Angel, who frequently has appeared alongside Newsom in his public briefings on the state's efforts to combat the pandemic, was considered a key player in the coordination with local public health departments across the state. Last week, state officials confirmed that as many as 300,000 records had not been processed by the computer clearinghouse system relied upon to provide to local officials the COVID-19 test results reported by labs on a daily basis. Two separate errors were identified, one related to a computer server outage, the other to the expiration of an electronic certificate for data to be transferred from Quest Laboratories. So, since the Trump administration took over the counting of the coronavirus cases, daily case increase, the numbers have plateaued and even started to trend down. But the systems that count these numbers are not reliable. We know that Florida shut down their reporting for 5 or 6 days when they were dealing with the hurricane, or was it a tropical storm? I don't remember. We see now that California has undercounted by 300,000 cases. That's nothing to sneeze at. So it's really hard to know right now. That's what we know about. We know about the 300,000 cases in California. We know about Florida shutting down. No, I would not be okay with Bill Gates or any other billionaire running for president. We've had one billionaire president. We don't need any more. But, you know, and it really comes down to, that's a good question. We don't know what the actual total cases are in California. Seriously, we just don't know. So I gave a number for the cases earlier, 573,000 cases. It could be hundreds of thousands more. It's fucked up. Anyway, they feel like they have a political motivation to Connor. It's not that billionaires are bad people. It's that they're too powerful. And I believe in breaking up concentrations of power and wealth because they're anti-democratic. And no person should have that much power or that much wealth. There are a lot of ways to change the wealth distribution in the country. And that's what we need to be thinking about, in my humble opinion. So, crazy news from Beirut, Lebanon. I'm sure everybody saw the explosion of the ammonium nitrate storage at the docks in Beirut. God damn it, that was a terrifying video to watch. I have to do the lighter part very quickly because my shoulder hurts and it tweaks my shoulder a little bit when I do that. So I have to be dexterous. This is from Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper. Lebanese prime minister resigns, acknowledging endemic corruption that led to Beirut blast. Lebanese Prime Minister Hassan Diab announced Monday that the Lebanese government has resigned hours after the cabinet announced its resignation. Lebanese President Michel Aoun accepted the resignation of the prime minister's government on Monday following last week's devastating explosion in Beirut port and asked it to stay in a caretaker capacity until a new cabinet is formed, a televised announcement said. In a brief televised speech, Diab said that the explosion that rocked Beirut last week was caused by endemic corruption that has pervaded Lebanese politics for years. So Diab blamed it on the corruption of previous administrations. They were, when Diab's government came in, it was after Harari's government, which was being protested last year, and this was supposed to be a new technocratic government that was going to figure out how to get the country running right. You know, before this terrible explosion, which has dislocated 300,000 people, life in Beirut was already dire. I saw one reporter from Beirut talking about day-to-day life in Beirut and how much the people there were already struggling and starving. There's no social safety net, no jobs. They only have electricity a few hours a day. They have terrible environmental policy. There have been a lot of protests. Last year, when they had really bad fires, the government wasn't handling them. That got a lot of protesters out in the streets. While Diab's move attempted to respond to popular anger about the blast, it also plunged Lebanese politics deeper into turmoil and may further hamper already stalled talks with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, on a financial rescue plan. The talks, launched in May, were put on hold due to inaction on reforms and a row between the government, banks, and politicians over the scale of vast financial losses. The talks, launched in May, were put on hold due to inaction on reforms and a row. Oh, I just read that. Look, now this country, so a lot of countries are talking about aid packages for Beirut. What Beirut needs is it needs grant money. It does not need IMF loans that come with all kinds of austerity. You keep interrupting my train of thought, Connor. I will answer that question, though. I do not pretend to know how much people should receive in reparations. I just don't. I don't know. It has to be investigated. I support the bill to have a special, I don't know, committee. No, a special to have the hearings and do the research and figure out how much it should be. But a debt owed is a debt owed. You know, it doesn't matter how long it's been. Descendants of slaves in America were robbed of the black families on average have about 10% the wealth of white families on average. So, people were robbed of their labor. They were robbed of the fruits of their labor. And it has affected generations and generations and generations of African Americans. And the only way to do that is to pay up, so I know it will be expensive. Yeah, absolutely. We destroyed their culture. We destroyed their religions. We, when we brought slaves over, we wouldn't let them speak their native language. We changed their names, all kinds of things. Yeah, that's another story. So it's impossible to know what Lebanon is even going to get from a new government. They don't really produce anything. Everything is imported. So this country is in bad shape after Harari left last year and now Diab. And we'll have to just wait and see what happens next with that. Yeah, I agree. As much as I don't know if races need to mix or not mix or whatever. All I know is that people need to be cool with people and they need to treat everybody the same. Most American cities are very segregated. Here in Los Angeles, the city is super segregated. Just look at the 10 freeway, above the 10 and below the 10. It's massively segregated. So in any case, that is it for tonight, guys. I have got to go. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow and 11 o'clock Eastern, and I will see you then. Peace out.